Hello, welcome to Show Me Your Mic, episode number 111. Actually, not Show Me Your Mic. I've been saying on Twitter that this is not the reboot of Show Me Your Mic, so we're testing the waters. Maybe we've
Don't
lost.
show me your mic.
Don't show me your mic. This is the podcast where we talk about podcasting and creative related ventures on the web. So we'll cover stuff like Twitch and YouTube and apps for the iPads and the tablets and the iPhones and the whatevers that all kind of like circle around the idea of podcasting in various forms. But we're also gaming nerds. We're also, I don't know, geeks about audio and video on the web.
Yeah,
I think is that
media
fair?
and stuff.
Yeah.
Music, creation, like the creative process. I want to cover some recent applications. Again, like you said, Anchor for iPad just came out this week. There's some Adobe news, so yeah, it'll be a little bit of mix of news and follow up from last time. And again, not show me your mic. It's maybe you've seen my mic, and I don't know where this is going, but
Yeah.
it's fine.
stuff.
It's good.
So
It's,
that voice you're hearing is Kyle Roderick, Good Stuff podcaster extraordinaire. I'm Chris Enns, Good Stuff podcaster also, and let's just jump right into the show. You had some follow up. We have some notes from the last episode that you want to sort of follow up on. What it kind of ties into what we're doing right now, in that we are streaming live on Twitch. We actually have a viewer right now on our Good Stuff channel, twitch.tv/goodstuff_FM. We're planning to record this Friday mornings, 8 o'clock my time, 9 o'clock Kyle's time, I think.
actually the opposite. No, this is 7 a.m. my time, so I'm getting up real early to do this. But this is my normal morning show / transmission morning time routine, where I would get up super early and podcast before my regular work day started. So yeah, we're here. We're doing this. I did want to follow up, though. We talked about the hashtag voidcasting, which is basically just like put a podcast out there and not really care if anyone listens to it, or put it out there and have, over the course of 5 years, 35 different views on it. I think there are tools for YouTube where you can search for specifically videos that have 0 views on them or less. And I know there's a point at which the YouTube count goes from 0 views to some 33 views or something is the minimum that it'll have, or something like that. I know there are services that do that. I wasn't sure, though, that there was a live stream component. And I found this week something called Lonely Streams, which is just a simple website that aggregates and displays Twitch streams that have 0 viewers. And the article on Kotaku brings up a good point. It's like they take these people who are streaming, they make great efforts to set everything up, make sure that they have internet, play some interesting games, do whatever it is they're going to do if they're just hanging out IRL or playing games or doing what we're doing. And they take a whole bunch of effort to make sure that the stream runs properly, or they're being entertaining for someone, and no one is there to appreciate their work. And especially on Twitch, it goes away after 30 days if you don't put it in a collection, and then it goes away anyway. We can't quite figure it out where the videos go when you don't watch them or when they're archived. I don't know. I don't really know what the situation is with Twitch video on demand stuff. But Lonely Streams seems like a place where we could hang out. I don't know. As a viewer, would I want to be the only one in a chat room? And I mean, we should ask our single viewer that we have right now. Do you want to be the only one in the chat room talking back to these people?
Depending on the streamer, and this is me, for my view, when I've tried streaming, whether it's a game or podcast related stuff, and there's one person is more intimidating than 0 or 500 to me. Because in that relationship mode or whatever, that situation, they have all the power, it feels like, for over me. Not right now, because I know Logan's watching and I'm with Kyle. There's 2 of us now on the stream that are streaming to Logan, basically. And So in
Direct
that case,
feed.
I'm okay. But yeah, like when I've done it by myself and I'm streaming like Clash Royale one time and like one person pops in and is like, "Hey, have you had sex today?" And like, and I just like shut the whole thing. I just like turned off my computer. So it's like,
It's like,
I don't know how to
I'm
respond.
out. Yeah.
And
Well, and
like they have all the
especially
power.
when especially when they aren't kind, or they're just
Yeah,
looking to troll you. It's not great. It's kind of a I don't think
yeah, we're
Lonely
giving
Streams
Logan
is
power.
built for that. I don't think it's like, hey, I'm just gonna go through all these 0 views and make people feel bad about themselves so
Troll.
that they don't stream ever again. I think folks could do that, which sucks, but I don't think that's kind of the intent of that whole thing. It's
No.
more like, hey, these people are putting in a pretty big effort to like get OBS running, or they paid money to get some sort of streaming thing going, and no one's watching. I don't know. It's
I think
tough. It's like, do you continue to do it when no one is watching over and over and over again? You know, you see these folks who make this kind of thing a living, and you just kind of scratch your head a bit, and it's like, oh, what kinds of things had to go right, or how many times did you need to do this before you were able to make this a full time thing?
yeah.
It's not for everyone, you know.
Yeah, I think people under it, like, because we make it look. I'm saying this with the air quotes maybe, but like we make it look pretty easy to do the streaming thing. But it actually takes a lot of like fiddling, and there's a lot of widgets and gadgets and software and stuff that works sometimes, and then other times, like just before we were streaming and my audio wasn't coming through, and like we would have, if we didn't triple check that or have Logan listening and telling us,
We wouldn't have
we'd
known.
have
I
yeah.
wouldn't have noticed because I'm focused on other things, you know?
Yeah. And we do have like the audio podcast of this goes out to hundreds of people that subscribe and presumably actually listen. And so we're not too worried that what we're doing right now is, in a sense wasted or whatever. But yeah, it would be tough to like plow through or keep plugging on when you've got 0 listeners time after time or whatever, or viewers
Yeah.
time after time. So but yeah. So thanks to everybody's efforts in void casting. I really appreciated not hearing your podcasts over the last couple of weeks. So we look forward to hashtag voidcasting in the future. But let's move on to some news from the week. The big one that I kind of went around a lot. Well, actually, there's quite a few this week. I don't know if there's like some sort of sweeps week for iPad or
Yeah.
podcasts, because out of nowhere. So the big first one was Anchor released a iPad component, which version of their app. They have an iPhone and Android app, right? And
They do, yeah.
yeah, they're on Android. Yeah. And but the iPad version, which coincidentally happened about 2 weeks after I sold my iPad Pro. I had an iPad Pro thinking I was going to use it for podcasting, and then I sold it thinking it's not working for me. And then Anchor released their iPad app, so that's usually the way it goes for me with stuff like this. But so
Yeah.
it'd be cool to test it out. But it looks, I mean, visually it looks nice. It looks like, and what people are saying about it, it looks like it's a really good way of mobile. Like it often would frustrate me trying to do stuff on the phone because it's smaller. I like having the bigger screen, and so the
Mhm.
iPad Pro or iPad, anyways, would be great. So I don't know. Do you have an iPad that you were able to try this with?
I haven't been able to try it yet. I do have an Android tablet, and there are a couple iPads floating around here. Older versions, mostly the like first version of the iPad Mini, and maybe an iPad 2 or 4. I can't quite keep track of which iPad is which. There was a iPad 4 or whatever that looked like an iPad 2. I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter. It doesn't have any of the Touch ID on it, if that kind of helps date
Right.
it. Um,
Yeah.
but this seems like a cool addition. The main change though from normal Anchor on an iPhone is that you can't consume any content with this. This is all like a creation only platform, and
Oh,
um, timeout.
like
Sorry.
a bit.
Just sorry, moderating the chat room. So it seems like it's adding more to Anchor, the platform, to a like a device that is built for creation, which is cool. I think that's a neat addition for Anchor that they haven't had before. They have the web interface, but it's I haven't edited in the web interface. It's only been like an upload portal for me when we're putting up, like when we were producing today's special. When we were producing today's special, I just simply dragged an MP3 file into there, um,
Hmm.
and it seemed to work pretty well. I do like what I want to try on this Anchor for iPad is the visual audio editor because it has segments like vertically that you can line up, but then you can also like edit horizontally, like on a normal timeline that you would on a computer. Um, yeah, it seems pretty cool. I want to try it out. I got to install it and see if it'll even run on my old machine.
That's an interesting idea that uh, that they don't allow you to listen to podcasts on the iPad version. I wonder why they would. It seems like that would be a core part of the app that's already there, like podcasts on Anchor, and eliminating that option means folks, I guess, can't use like because I'm thinking of myself having the iPad both in my office where I might be recording something, but then also like I'm upstairs making some supper and want to just have a podcast playing and I turn on Anchor, but I can't. Then I have to go get my phone to actually listen to the Anchor podcast, or I might subscribe elsewhere. But it just seems odd that they would like push people back to their regular another iPad app to maybe listen to a podcast instead of having it built in. But yeah, I guess that's where
Yeah,
maybe I don't know what they would. It might just be a technical issue why they focus on the creation side. Maybe they, in their eyes, like I think you said here, the content creation of the iPad instead of seeing it as a consumption device. Which in my
is
experience
more
of
like
6 months of
creation.
owning an
Yeah.
iPad, I was using it equally for both reading and listening and watching videos and stuff, and also for creating stuff. But I guess I'm not in the majority because I sold my iPads anymore. So
Well, I feel the same. Like Google dropped support for future upgrades to the operating system for their Pixel tablet or whatever, Pixel C, which just made me feel like, what? Why then am I going to continue to use
already,
this? Because yeah,
yeah,
yes, it's whatever, like a year and a half into that thing being out, and I guess they aren't going to support it anymore. Great, wonderful. And
yeah.
I would assume that Anchor isn't going to release something like this for Android, but I could be wrong. I don't know. It's just not. It's not a platform that I'm willing to use anymore. If it's gonna be like a thing where I will be editing audio, I'll just do it on a laptop, or I'll do it. I'll do
Yeah.
it there. I'm not gonna pull out my tablet to do that. But
There's
these
yeah,
iPad folks are just like, I only work on an iPad, so it seems like a good update for Anchor to put out and try and be
yeah.
competitive with other updates that have been coming out for what was that? GarageBand had this announcement I think yesterday where they have a big upgrade to their loops that they added to the app, and there's a whole bunch of lessons that are now free inside of GarageBand, so you can learn how to play, a Death Cab for Cutie song or whatever on guitar, which sounds kind of intriguing to me. It doesn't have to do with podcasting, but it, I could see a time where there is like, hey, click on Chris's face and it says, podcasting 101, and you walk someone through like, how do you set up a multi-track recording system? How do you fade audio in and out for an intro? And then how do you export it and put it onto YouTube or onto Anchor or whatever?
They added more than 400 animal, machine, and voice sound effects that can be worked into music creation. So there is, I guess, a podcast angle if you need some
Oh, good.
animal sound
My
effects.
animal sound effects band. Yeah, good. I'll work that into my next mixtape, I guess. Is that what people? I don't know. Doesn't
It's a
matter.
podcast mixtape. I think that's a thing. If it's
Yeah.
not, it should be right after void casting. The other news was that Google finally put out finally, I think it's worthy of a podcast app, a devoted app for Android only right now. So I'm assuming you've tried this out. You have an Android device. I don't have any Android devices to play with, but how does it compare? What was your previous podcast app, I guess, and how does Google Podcast compare?
Uh, my previous and current and forever podcast app is going to be Pocket Casts. Yes, they did get acquired by NPR or whatever company is behind NPR. but the Rusty Shelf, is that what's his name?
Yeah.
Uh, he,
Rusty.
uh, he puts
That's
out
his
a
Twitter
great
handle. Yeah.
product. Yeah, that's his Twitter handle. Sorry, I'm stuck in
Russell.
Twitter handles. Russell Ivanovich.
Yeah.
Yeah, he puts out a great app with the guys over at Pocket
Shifty
Cast,
Jelly.
Shifty Jelly. Yeah, those guys.
Yeah.
I love it. It syncs between a desktop app or a web view and the app I've got. I
You
like
tried the new they have a new desktop app apparently for Mac as
yes.
well as have you
So
tried
that's
that
been
out?
yeah, it's been out for a little while. I think it was in
Oh,
beta for quite a bit, and Pocket Casts, even on the web, had like a little toggle where you could go from their old view to their beta view, and the beta view is basically just the same exact thing that the Mac app was.
okay.
But the Mac app, I think I could be wrong technically, but I think it's just an Electron app where it's like a
Probably.
Mac app inside of a shell where it creates the DMG or it creates the dot app, but it's just a web view loading up inside of there. I could be wrong, but
Yeah.
that's what I think it is.
Yeah.
And I yeah, I really like Pocket Casts. I did take a look though at Google Podcasts app for Android. Now, the thing I this is going to be true for both the excuse me, both for the Google Podcast app and their recently released YouTube Music app. When Google creates a music application and they say like, "Hey, we need you to pay for this," or "Check this out. This is our foray into podcasting," right? Uh, I consume media the most in the car. And if you are not going to provide a uh, Android Auto component for both Google Podcasts and YouTube Music, if I can't go into my car right when I plug it in and say, "Oh, I want to keep listening to that podcast over on Good Stuff" inside of my app, um, I'm not going to use your app. If there's no Android Auto component, I'm not using your app. You you literally work at the same company putting these apps together.
Yeah.
Why could you not at launch support your native platform for the place where most people consume their podcasts and music? It's the car, right?
Exactly. So you can't I mean you can do the Bluetooth connection from your phone, I guess, right?
You can,
Can you
and
not?
I mean, yes, you
But
can. But
not like the
if I've
slick.
it's not going to be slick. Yeah, it's not going to be
Yeah.
like my safe car interface. Pocket Casts has a Android Auto app, and Google Play Music has an Android Auto app.
Right.
The Anchor even has an Android Auto app. So I'm more likely to use Anchor for my podcasts than I am to use this brand new Google Podcast app. It looks great on the phone. I'm not saying it doesn't look great or it's
Yeah.
not useful, but it's just not it's not going to be sticky with me because it like there was that friction point where it's like nah, I now I can't do anything with it, and I can't expect listeners, like let's go from the content creation standpoint. I can expect listeners to jump onto this Google Podcasts app and for me to take the time to support whatever additional like adding buttons to the website and that kind of stuff for this app when I know how hard I bounced off of it going from I'm listening on my phone or in my headphones and I go to plug it in my car to continue it and it's not there. So like
It does seem odd
I'm
that
not gonna
like
pick it up.
a Google-sized company like Google couldn't
A Google sized
couldn't like
company, yeah.
couldn't figure out a way to get their like I understand that I'm sure eventually they will have it, right? Like I mean, it would be crazy that they if they never ever like if somehow they're like, "Oh, we didn't get 5 billion users instantly, so I guess we won't develop the auto app for it
Right.
somehow." But like it's got to be like at Google
But
anyways, like 5 programmers weekend job to be able to just like quickly integrate it or
well,
something. Like how hard
it should be sort of a proof of concept, like the dog fooding idea, right? Like
Yeah.
you should be able to say it is so easy to integrate the Android Auto SDK into your application that we did it in one weekend and we can test it and whatever it is. I know this has
Yeah.
been something that they have been working on for a while, because it's been inside of Google Play Music forever. And I was able to play podcasts through there, but I can't through this new app. And it's like, I can't tell
Yeah.
what you want me to do, Google. Like you give me too many options. Like I love all I love all their apps, and I'm that is my platform of choice. It's just that you give me too many options for where I can keep my stuff without going, head first into the one that you believe in the most. I wish that they would just be like, "Hey, Google Podcasts app, that's the only one we have. We removed it
Yeah.
completely from, the other apps. You won't be able to do it in Google Play Music anymore. You won't be able to play it in YouTube Music." And that's the other thing, YouTube Music. That got announced and is available in a whole bunch of different countries, 17 countries now. And Google Play Music still exists, but YouTube Music doesn't have an Android Auto app. It's just, I'm so frustrated with Google and their inability to really commit to the bit, like commit to something, and
Yeah.
I'll eat it up. I will. I really will. I live and breathe Google products, but commit to something, please.
It feels like they've got like they made a big deal about the AI thing and like being able to machine learning and finding you better podcasts and stuff. And like maybe you and I are, and listeners of Show Me Your Mic even are in the minority in terms of like I don't want to find some like, hey, you like whatever the Daily from the New York Times. Maybe you'll also like this other podcast that's like that. I bristle at any of those kind of like algorithmic reasonings why I would listen to another podcast. I rely on word of mouth. I rely on checking out myself. That's kind of my way. But I could see folks who are less either social media savvy that way, and they don't get recommendations of new podcasts a lot. Maybe relying on stuff like that and YouTube or Google, thinking that this is the way to like grow audiences on podcasting, is to make it easier with machine learning. So like maybe that's where they're like putting all their eggs in that basket of like recommendation
The recommendation
engines
engine and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
stuff. And so that's why they didn't do the Android or the auto part yet. But it feels like, man, just like do the basic, just get the app there, get people
Yeah.
using it, and then add
Yeah.
that, and then add more, and then like that's where Apple had like the worst, almost among the worst podcast apps for being the home of podcasts on the web, and kind of were like just like, well, screw it, who cares if people are listening anyways, and like
Mm-hmm.
are slowly, very slowly iterating on it, but like just at least had the functionality there to use it on their platforms. And I'm assuming Apple CarPlay has the podcast app. I assume. I don't have a vehicle that has CarPlay, so I can't say for sure. My
Yeah.
in-laws
Actually,
actually just got
I
a
don't.
motorhome with CarPlay, so I'll have to test it
Oh,
out.
that's cool. Yeah, I put mine in as a whatever, an aftermarket type thing. It's just inside of the deck or whatever. It's the Sony something something A100. No, I think that's a camera. I don't know. Doesn't matter. It's one of those. It's a Sony one.
The camera
It's
actually has the Google Podcast app installed.
Oh, finally! I mean, hey, actually, there was that Samsung camera. Remember that, where it was like an Android-based Samsung camera, and you could connect it to stuff and upload, and like, hey, I'm posting directly from my camera. It and that seems kind of cool. I wouldn't mind listening to a podcast on my camera while taking photos, but yeah, I don't know. I want to like it, and I want to also hear from people if they're like, this Google Podcast app is great. I just don't have a way to subscribe to your shows through it or whatever. But I found most of our shows on there anyway. It just kind of works out the box, and it's fine.
Yeah, I
I
think
mean,
for podcasters,
it's
there is
it's
like
not bad.
a podcast portal, creator portal that you can like add your shows, claim your shows if they're already on there, so you can see stats and stuff from it. I was underwhelmed when we first set it all up, and maybe now we should go back and look at it again, I guess. But it was very minimal, like 5 listeners or whatever through there,
Or
which
zip.
or 0, yeah, like
Yeah.
predominantly 0, like void casting on Google, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And so it didn't feel like we should be bothering, especially like big huge networks, or maybe you're an Android Google focused kind of niche of your podcast, for sure, obviously. And I'm sure there's people who are having great success with Google Podcast, obviously, but there's only so far we can, or so thin we can spread ourselves. Is that, yeah.
Yeah. because
in terms of what we're.
we're like the peanut butter of podcasting, I guess. It's like how thin can you put it onto the toast before you just really kind of lose the flavor and all you taste is toast.
That's what we're learning. We're dealing with my 8-year-old right now. Is how much honey are you allowed to put on your toast? Is a common struggle.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
I
good
get that.
analogy. You mentioned the YouTube Music Premium, and YouTube Music and YouTube Premium are two
Hmm.
separate things, right? So you can
Correct.
do now, and they launched. It's been available in the U.S. for a while, but now they launched to 17 more countries, Canada being one of them. So now I'm seeing ads for YouTube Music and YouTube Premium, and it's whatever. It'll be like $10 or so for YouTube Music, and $15 for YouTube Music and YouTube Premium, roughly. I think is
Yeah, there's some
depending on
sort of bundle
currency,
that
but
you can get, or there is, yeah. I don't know what that converts to in Canadian dollars, but it's probably about what it is for the US. It
yeah.
seems like an okay deal. It replaces the YouTube Red. Sorry, we were talking about toast. YouTube Red um model that they were utilizing and tying into like Google Play Music and stuff. So if you paid for Google Play Music, you would get YouTube Red. It's a whole thing. I guess they're like replacing that with this current model of YouTube Music and YouTube Premium, which is okay. You get access to their like original content, which I don't think I've ever watched other than there was like a cat documentary maybe, and even that probably ended up on Netflix. Yeah, it's just not. I do like watching videos on YouTube. I went down a very specific rabbit hole of watching Bon Appetit videos yesterday, where they would make um, gourmet versions of like highly processed foods like Cheetos and Twinkies and Skittles and stuff like that. Very good video series. But I that's not premium content. That's just like
No.
I can just watch it for free. And it's no ads, which is nice, but again, like they've been doing no ads and that's been kind of a difficult sell on YouTube for a while anyway. This doesn't really change any of that. It's just a different name.
There's there's also the ability to download offline videos, right? So that you can, I know, like for
Yes,
this
you
is where
can
I'm
do that.
considering
Yeah.
it is like for our kids on a road trip or whatever. But there again, it's like, do I really want them watching some random YouTube videos or do I want them just to like watch the movies that we've bought on iTunes or whatever, anyways, that we know what the
Right.
content is. So, but it is no commercials thing is a big deal for parents, I think. And how this could relate back to podcasting, obviously, is like your shows on Google. If you have videos on Google, you can get credit for people who have premium. At least before it was with YouTube Red, anyways. I could see the distinction between somebody watching on YouTube regular, and then you get paid for ads, and then but if they watch with YouTube Red and now YouTube Premium, I assume you get a percentage cut or whatever of that if you're
Hmm.
part of the program at the new higher rate or whatever that you have to achieve, which we're not, in order to and you can
Yeah.
get some affiliate money that way or whatever, partner money. So there is that potential. So and I think you could probably promote YouTube Premium and get some sort of affiliate things as well and all that kind of stuff. But at any rate, it's a tempting offer, I guess, for me here, because I can see the utility for the kids, and there's a family plan and stuff like that. But I think we'll probably give it a pass. We'll try the free month or whatever that they give for the family plan
Hmm.
and check it out. But anything you get your kids hooked on, then you have to just continually pay for it for the rest of your life. So we have to give it some serious thought. So
Well, I
um,
think YouTube was also in some hot water because of some of the commercials that they were running. It was like they would be
yeah,
running very specifically political ads or like conspiratorial ads, or they would not be like kid appropriate. So I could see wanting to be like, no, I just don't want to deal with it. I'll pay $7 a month or whatever it is, so that I don't. My kids are just going directly to the videos rather than seeing some sort of pre-roll or mid-roll or whatever.
yeah.
And I don't know if that changes actually if you're watching through like a Chromecast or something, or even through like the Xbox. I don't know if they're doing pre-roll, post-roll in between. Um, but I think it could be a way to get around the kind of messed up commercials and stuff that YouTube is putting in there. Just they're injecting it, based on what people are demographically pointing you as. So, depending on what videos you're watching or wherever you are in the world, that's the kind of stuff that you'll see. I know we get some local ads through ours as well. I mean, that's a Los
Yeah,
Angeles
we
thing
do.
probably, but
No,
it's
we do too
pretty.
here, like locally.
Oh,
Yeah,
really? Come
yeah,
down to Tim's Tire Barn, where
yeah.
you'll find the greatest tires. I don't know what that is, but it probably is
It
a
was
site
really
thing.
jarring at first. Like I remember when it started happening because you're used to seeing like only McDonald's or big major brands that were willing to advertise on YouTube because they had the global reach of YouTube, and so then obviously YouTube adding focused targeted marketing where you can geolocate your ads or whatever,
Yeah.
and so then you see like some random yeah, like this like highly produced ad for one video and then this like local half-ass kind of video for another
Or
ad.
or like a 5 to 10 minute video now that someone somehow snuck into the ad buying
Yeah.
process, and I guess put a whole bunch of money behind it, but you have to like sit through. It's ridiculous if you don't hit skip. Um, yeah,
So
go ahead.
I was gonna say related to that is that YouTube did actually offer now for podcasters and people, especially on gaming, the YouTube gaming side. So if you're a streamer and you're using YouTube instead of Twitch, they now do like a bit more of a sponsorship model, like Twitch
Hmm.
has,
Hmm.
with like a $5 a month sponsorship, and then you can access digital goods, custom emoji, all the fun stuff that Twitch has done in the chat and things like that. That where the bits and things like that. YouTube is kind of like jumping on that bandwagon. I think they kind of like my impression is YouTube kind of turned their nose up at some of that stuff. They're like, we don't need to lower ourselves to selling bits or whatever and
Hmm.
custom emojis, and we'll just do the old
Or
what we've
the
done.
Patreon model. Like they didn't want to get into the direct support model, and they I think have decided to switch that over from. And it was at YouTube Gaming for a little while, but they're saying like, hey, all creators now, if you have 100,000 subscribers or more, you're 18 or older, you can now take on sponsorships and stuff. So okay. The thing is, it's like those folks are not the ones that need the direct sponsorship model. It's the folks who are underneath the 100,000
Yeah.
subscribers who are making it for 52,000. Let's say, like put someone in the middle, right? That's a lot of subscribers, and the videos are probably not making that much on advertisements and stuff because let's say like folks are willing to pay for the premium model. And so now what? You're kind of stuck in limbo where you're probably going to point people to Patreon, or you already are pointing people to Patreon, and you're never going to get up to that 100,000 subscribers model to be able to do that. So it just sounds like the cool kids club that you won't ever be able to get into, which sucks.
Yeah, or they've already like the bigger uh, creators or whatever, the folks with a bigger audience have already left YouTube, not like left YouTube completely, but they were burned by YouTube turning off, affiliate money and whatever, and they went to Patreon, et cetera. And they're not going to like just now YouTube is like, hey, no, we're good, we're friendly to you guys, you creators who aren't, BMW or whatever.
Right.
We want you back, and we promise this time it's going to be different. And I would think most of them are kind of, I'm sure it's not like they'll turn it on and try it or whatever, because it's probably right now, anyways, it's not an exclusive thing, I don't think, where you have to like say, I'm not going to be a part of Twitch partner program. I'm only going to be a YouTube thing. But I would guess that's coming soon if it isn't there already, because you
Yeah.
have to
Yep.
imagine. I think Twitch has something like that for live streaming, like or for their affiliate or partner program. I forget which one, where you can only live stream when it's happening live. I guess that's how you live stream, but you can only stream to their thing. So if you're using a service like Restream.io, you can't be a part of some partner program or whatever.
Hmm.
Which I mean, it's just like a record label. If you sign with a record label or you sign with a hockey
Right.
team, you're
Right.
you're
Yeah. No. No.
exclusively
Exactly.
with them. It's not
You're
really
not.
that. It's not like some communist kind of or whatever regime thing, controlling you or whatever. It's just kind of like they're investing in you with their dollars and money and service, and you have to
Yeah.
sort of repay that a bit.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well,
we'll see.
and also on the Twitch side, this week, I mean, it seems like this is such a huge week for news around content creation. Twitch updated their app on Android to be able to take subscriptions through
Mm,
Google Play, so I can be watching on my phone and say like subscribe, and it'll just charge me through Google Play rather
wow.
than like, yeah, it's wild. I
Someone who's watching us right now should try that just to see if by the way, they do have, we'll just do a little plug here for the Twitch folks who are watching. I'll cut this out of the
Yeah.
audio. But like up at the top, you can do the subscribe and gift us your sub, your Amazon Prime sub. We don't expect you to like pay out of your pocket or whatever. I mean, you can if you want
Yeah,
to.
seriously, I'm not looking for like actual money, but if
Just
you
like
are
if
a
you've got an Amazon
subscriber,
Prime thing, yeah,
yeah.
just throw it in there and then you have to come back every month to change to update it. So it doesn't last forever, but it's like a neat way of just supporting the network. Good stuff here. While if you're watching and enjoying what we're doing,
We get a tiny bit of a kickback. Yeah, it's like $2 or something like
something like
that.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
it's pretty good.
it adds up, like a cup of coffee or whatever. But I know going back to the YouTube thing, like my brother-in-law has a channel. It's like up over 100,000 subscribers. So like he could theoretically do this. And I know he's not making good money off. I mean, he doesn't. His model is not to make money off advertising. He's selling stuff through you, not through YouTube, but through his videos on YouTube. And that's how he makes a living. But it would be tempting, I'm sure, to like, and I'll have to talk to him about it, but like to try this out because if you're at that size, at least you can make use of some of these tools without having to go elsewhere. I know he's someone who's a little less not like tech savvy, but like he's less interested in all the stuff that you and I like, exploring when a new service is announced, you kind of like investigate it, check it out, try it out,
Mm-hmm.
and then abandon it after wasting a month on it or whatever.
Yeah,
Whereas
that's
he's much more
exactly it.
focused on actually just making the thing and putting out a video and then making another thing and putting out a video. And so for folks like him, I could see just, if they can just hit a button in YouTube and it's like sponsorship or membership or whatever program on now without having to worry about signing up with some other service, there
Yeah.
could be appealing, but I would be hesitant to turn my back on something like to me, it seems like a thing where it's nice to have those in two different silos, like having your Patreon thing and having your YouTube channel as two separate entities. As much as it's frustrating because you have to direct people elsewhere, you're not relying on one company completely for your entire livelihood or your hobby livelihood or whatever your level is.
Yeah, well, I think that YouTube folks who are making a living on there or tried to make a living on there learned that the hard way, where they did realize like, hey, I can't make a living here because at the drop of a hat, YouTube can change their policies and I'll lose all my money. So they
but
did start
you know what you can do,
pointing.
Kyle? You then move over your YouTube channel. You just move it over to Instagram TV. Instagram.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you've tried this. This is Instagram's new like vertical video platform. It is both a separate app and not a separate app. It's one of those things where you can access it inside of Instagram as well. It basically looks like long form stories. First of all, as a creator, what does this look like for you? I saw that you had a video up there. Does it look good? What are some statistics that you get? And is this better than stories? Should we be as good stuff? Should we be investing in something like this?
Okay, so it's first of all, the app itself, it's kind of like what we were talking about with Anchor, where the app itself is not actually useful. You can't use it to create video with. So you can't record there's not like a camera mode on it. You have to have the video already on your phone from somewhere else that you're going to upload to your channel on Instagram TV. So that's an interesting choice, obviously, fairly intentional.
Yeah.
And so it kind of it forces it to be at least a little bit more difficult to create content, which is, obviously not always what YouTube or Instagram, the native app, or whatever the regular app, I guess.
It's like the opposite. It's
like
very
throw
easy.
content here very quickly and easily, and it's the quality wise, it seems good. Like it's not doing doesn't look like it's doing a lot of compression of the video and stuff like that. It seems to have, what I uploaded is what is there, and you get analytics and insights similar to what you'd see on Instagram. If you have an Instagram business account, it's basically the same idea, except they do add a percentage play thing, much like YouTube, where you can see how long folks are watching your video and when they're dropping off. So like my video, that's a 2.5 minute video of just me talking about Instagram TV, drops off pretty steadily right around the 1 minute 20 mark for whatever reason. So maybe that's when I pick my nose or something. But it gives you the views, 29 views, 2 likes, 5 comments. And so it has like potential there for creators. It's just like a weird thing from a creator standpoint, I feel like, to like spread yourself so thin that you're doing something for that as well, because it's vertical video only. And so obviously if you have a landscape video, it'll just crop it to the middle and sort of zoom or whatever.
Hmm.
Which
Yeah,
is
I
an
saw.
interesting, like from a creative standpoint, it's fun to like mess with that idea of like,
Mm.
I've seen other videos where they've repurposed like the Tonight Show and they'll just re-edit it so that, the guest is on the top and the host is on the bottom instead of side by side
Oh,
when
so
they
they like
actually shot the video.
they split the frame so that, oh, that's
Yeah.
really interesting. Wow.
So it actually makes for an interesting watch viewing experience, I guess, that way. But most of what you're seeing right now on there, at least in my experience, haven't watched a ton, is just like people repurposing videos, and it's just obviously cropped the left and the right side out and zoomed in,
Yeah.
which isn't great. Like it's way too close, and but I think there's potential there, and because it's tied into Instagram, the app,
Mm.
it's going to have usefulness. It's going to have viewers because they're basically sort of forcing you at every turn to like check out Instagram TV, whether you want to or not,
Yeah.
because there's a button inside Instagram to alert you of new stuff that you subscribe to. If you subscribe to somebody on Instagram TV, you're subscribed to them on Instagram again. Um, and it's just kind of like everything is pointing you and trying to. Here's the thing to me is like, I think I tweeted something like this: is if like falling down a YouTube rabbit hole is like a thing you're susceptible to, then I think once there's more content, anyways, for sure, Instagram TV is going to be even worse because it's like it's almost impossible not to have video playing. Like the average person going to the app is going to be like, how do I just want to stop and like think for a moment about what I'm going to do next. Like on YouTube, at least you're like, okay, there's 4 videos on the next, what to play next. And I can click on one of them and then that video will start in a few seconds. Whereas Instagram TV is like a video is playing and you're trying to fumble around, swipe. Do I swipe? Do I slide up? Do I
Well,
what?
even
And then
for
another video starts
stories,
right away.
yeah, for stories, you're like, okay, like uh, this one has 50 segments on it. All right, swipe down. Like I'm not prepared for
Yeah.
this. I don't have time for this. I'm also done going to the restroom, so it's time for me to go. Um, but
You
like
watch
that's
I'm always nervous watching stories in public, so I'm like, you have no idea what's gonna happen next, and, like, it could be somebody swearing, it could be, like, a
yeah,
live concert from U2 or whatever, and,
yeah,
like
yep.
yeah, anyway.
But yeah, I think you're right. Like it's if you are, and I most definitely am susceptible to the YouTube rabbit hole. This this was easier for me to get out of because one, right now, limited content. But I am starting
Yeah,
to see that the content on there is just hyper professional, and it makes sense now that you can't get content into there other than by upload. Rather than it's not like you don't use your device as the content creation anymore. Um, some examples that I saw, I think yours was more of like a, hey, I've got a video on my phone and I'm gonna upload it. But San Francisco Giants put one out that is like replays of Buster Posey throwing to second base and then the slow mo, and it's like, wow, this is like baseball replays but in portrait, and it looks great, and there's slow mo, and it's like
yeah,
this is professional content, and there's motion graphics and stuff. And then I watched another one where a guy took his DSLR, flipped it on its side, and recorded a video that way, and it looks great. It's 4.5 minutes long, and it looks wonderful. But it was like I don't have a DSLR. If I want it to look this good, I have to one go get a DSLR, two take the time to take a video, upload it, edit it, and then post it to Instagram TV. That's too much work. I'm not going to be a content creation person on there if this is what I'm going up against. So
yeah,
for me, again, it's one of those things. Like this week, I feel like I'm just kind of bouncing off everything from a creator's point of view and just saying like, nah, I'm not gonna waste my time with this stuff.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I
it
feel like
it,
it's
it
gonna
seems
be a lot of
unapproachable.
yeah, it feels like a lot of people are gonna chase after this, like, "Oh, I gotta be the next whatever Instagram TV thought leader." And I think you're just gonna get overwhelmed now with, like, professionally produced videos like the baseball one or Tonight Show
Yeah.
or, like, it's gonna be that or the really hyper raw stuff where it's just like a collection like, so I could see someone making a collection of, whatever, cat videos or people getting hit in the nuts with a baseball or, like, whatever it is. Someone, just collecting other because it's the Wild West where there's no I'm sure there's very little, like, legal whatever stuff,
Oh
content,
yeah. Oh yeah.
on there. You can just throw anything out. I'm just looking at interesting enough on my personal Instagram now, if I wanted to add on my Instagram stories, there's like a link button now instead of in addition to the stickers and the drawing and stuff, there's a link button, which I know verified accounts have had for a while, like where you can, Walmart can add a link to like their store page or whatever, right, from their Instagram story. The average person doesn't have that button, but they added it now, and my only option is to add a link to my Instagram TV videos. So it's just like even more. That's the only reason why they want me to link to stuff is to promote their other thing. Um, so I don't know. I think like I didn't follow MKBHD. He was like a tech video guy or whatever, popular
Yeah.
guy, and
Yep.
I didn't follow his YouTube channel. I didn't like, and somehow it recommended it to me on Instagram TV. So I was like, oh, I'll check that out, like just to see what he's going to do with it. And then right away, I'm also now following him on Instagram, and it's just kind of like that. I didn't want that. I wanted it just on Instagram TV to be its own little silo. But of course, everything has to like transfer over and carry now. Yeah, now I'm stuck following him everywhere, which
Yeah.
is
I think what this is going to mean. I mean, you were talking about the like competitive landscape of this, and everyone kind of going towards this model. I could see YouTube moving into a like always on model, because that's what Instagram TV is. It's sort of like,
yeah,
when the app is open, you are watching a video straight away. And if you care about bandwidth and stuff, don't download the app, don't open the app, don't even deal with it, because they don't have any tools that are good for managing your bandwidth on there. You
no,
can't download, you can't do anything. And the compression seems way, way, way less than it is for stories, which I think you have some control over what that looks like on Instagram. But yeah, don't don't download it if you are concerned about throttling and stuff.
yeah. It's a bit like they've Instagram has said like we're not going to do the web at all. Basically, like they have a web component. You can watch Instagram TV videos on the web now, but there's nothing. It's nothing like YouTube. It's just like it's like watching someone's Instagram video or whatever, and then you're just
Mhm.
done. And they've said we're going to try and do YouTube, but do it if we were starting over with YouTube and doing it on the phone, what would it look like? And this is kind of their version of it. Which I posted a video to my Twitter account of like I don't know if you saw that the audio crossfade between story or whatever you call it between
Yes.
video
Yeah, yeah,
channels.
yeah. Going
It's like a
going
really
left and right.
slick, like
Yeah.
sort of like slowly go and it fades to one and then it fades back to the other and it, like that's the little nice touch for sure from like a visual audio whatever standpoint. And it's a cool app to use, but it is a bit like Snapchat too in that it's like confusing as heck. And you feel like, especially the older folks or less tech savvy folks are going to feel a little bit like stressed using it, which doesn't feel like a great way to like inspire those folks. But then that tells me that they're probably not worried about those kind of folks. They
Mm,
want
mm.
the 15 to 25-year-old or whatever in, broad terms to just like sit there and stare at the screen for the whole bus ride to work, school or whatever, and rack up the views. So
Yep. Yeah, yeah, I agree. We'll see what happens with this. I do think it'll probably change the video watching landscape. There will be sponsored
that
content and
worries.
ads in
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
eventually, because otherwise, how is Instagram going to make money on this? Other than maybe, I guess they are looking at partner content, like original series is probably a weird way to put that, but yeah, like Instagram created content, Instagram sponsored content. Um,
So
we'll
we could
see.
like I could download our video that we're streaming right now. I could edit it in Final Cut into a
Swoop.
landscape or portrait
Hmm.
video.
Hmm.
Put your head above, mine at the bottom, and like that could be our show because you can do up to an hour of video, which terrifies me to think about doing that through my phone, like just sitting there, hoping it's going to upload and not barf on me or someone phone me, and then everything starts over again.
Yeah.
But speaking of though, if you needed to create video, one final news item
Yep.
that you had picked up on. I missed this one that Adobe's put out a new video editor, so it's not
They
Premiere
will be
anymore.
putting out a new video editor, I guess
Oh,
is more accurate. They announced the launch of Project Rush, which sounds like the new San Francisco Rush for
is it
what
their
platform
esports
would that
team?
be? Yeah, it's
Overwatch?
well, no, it's actually it does sound like an esports team, but it was a car game for Nintendo 64. They had
Oh, right,
they
yeah.
had like 3 or 4 of them. They had also an arcade game, which was pretty cool, but I always enjoyed the home console version. Anyway, Adobe. Video editing is kind of their strong suit. I think people use Premiere quite a bit, but they announced Project Rush, which is basically like a more accessible tool, I guess. Accessible in the not in the like technical way, but in the easier for beginners to use.
So like their
Um,
iMovie to Premiere almost,
that's yeah, I think that's
or to Final
exactly
Cut, I mean?
the analogy that they're trying to go for, where it's like simplified. It's got a couple of features from After Effects and a couple features from Premiere Pro, and it's about simple editing. And what it looks like is it's going to be on tablets and computers and phones and everything else. So this type of, I assume the output is going to be both horizontal and vertical to allow for uploading and managing and editing of photos and videos and stuff that could be added to Instagram TV or to whatever platform comes out where this would be useful. The assumption so far, at least from TechCrunch, is that it'll be available in October at Adobe's Max conference, where I don't know where that is this year, but that is the assumptive launch date for that. So we'll see. This looks like, Adobe products are okay. Photoshop on the phone is a little clunky. It's pretty slow. I'm on the Pixel 2 XL, and it's still pretty slow when I try and edit stuff. So I've moved back to Snapseed by Google. It tends to work a little faster. But this seems pretty good. I don't know if folks would drop iMovie, like you said, for this, unless there were compelling features like vertical video supported and stuff. But we will see. We'll see what happens with this.
Yeah, they don't mention anything. Obviously, it's too early to. They don't talk about pricing and stuff like that. So that would be a big, if it's Adobe's, the main reason why I see folks, podcasters and other creative folks not using Adobe is because of the subscription model that you have to pay to like do Premiere or whatever, Audition, etc. And so then they go to, if that mental model of paying every month for something, regardless of whether you use it or not, doesn't work for you, then that's where you go to Logic and Final Cut Pro or whatever would be the competition, I guess. But yeah, there is, like, obviously this was announced before Adobe or Instagram TV was announced, which it's just one app, but there is kind of a growing need for, or the change for, like, people using vertical video instead of the widescreen video that we're used to, for especially for smaller creative types doing this kind of stuff. And so I was speculating on whether someone like Apple would update their Clips app or iMovie or something for iOS to support vertical video better, because Apple's Clips apps would be perfect for Instagram TV actually, but it's a square video format only. Like, it locks you to a square format.
Interesting.
Which was designed for Instagram before, presumably. So one would think that they'd be updating it, as soon as they are able, for supporting this vertical video format. And Apple is like, it would look gorgeous on an iPhone 10 screen, obviously, where they could show off how great, vertical video looks, and notch or otherwise. And but I think, the first sort of major company that gets some sort of vertical video, like any Premiere and Final Cut Pro can do vertical video. You just have to know how to set it up, or even ScreenFlow if you're using that on the Mac or whatever. You just have to set up the pixels, in the right order or whatever ratio, and you can do it. But for the average folks on their phone or tablet or whatever, to be able to create vertical video is, I think, what's going to be the next sort of major thing. So
yeah, and this tool is supposed to integrate with stuff like Adobe Stock, which I've never used, but I guess would be useful if you're like, hey, I'm doing a vlog and we're in the Philippines and I want to get like stock footage of the beach and stuff, but without going out to the beach and stuff. Yeah, it could be useful in certain circumstances. Things like the company's AI tools for improving the audio and video of clips. So there'll be some algorithmic, AI tools. It's a stretch to put it nicely. I think it's not going to be a vast improvement. It's not going to edit for you, but we'll see. We'll see what this is like. I think you mentioned the pricing. We'll see what the pricing is like. But that'll probably be out later this year. And maybe
the ability to share right to, like, from the device to, like, share right to Facebook stories or Instagram stories. Right from the app. It's pretty slick. Like, I don't know. There's obviously APIs for that, or they're hoping there are going to be APIs for that. And that's, like, again, I can see the Instagram what are they called? Micro influencers and whatever is jumping on something like this.
That must be a thing.
Yeah.
Micro influencers, huh?
Yeah, it's a thing. Unfortunately, I sort of threw up my mouth the first time.
I think that would be us. We influence or micro machine influencers. Maybe it's like
five folks watching us right now. I think it's if you're less than micro. 10, you're a micro. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So, yeah.
I hate that. I
Right.
do.
That's I think that's enough for this episode. We actually stayed on topic for the most part. Sorry to folks who followed the last episode. You know, we kind of rambled all over the place. I'm not really sorry, actually. You chose to keep listening. It's your fault.
That's true, but you I think you are just sorry all the time. But that's
Yeah,
your MO.
it's the Canadian issue. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know what we need? We need. I think we need a Gmail account or something for this podcast for folks to send in stuff. I forget what we did last time. Did before the last time that in the ones that we void casted, but
Yeah.
for now you can tweet at us. SMYM_FM is the Twitter account for Show Me Your Mic, and you can tweet it there. If that one's too hard to remember, I'm iChris. Kyle's dog burps. Those kind of roll off your tongue a little easier and off your fingers onto the keyboard.
Out your mouth and just kind of.
Yeah, mouth blog it. Good Stuff FM. We would love for audio questions as well about podcasting. If you're able to, if you're a podcaster out there and you want to send us audio, you can link to it with it on Twitter or whatever. And for the next episode, we'll have a dedicated email account. Actually, we could. I guess if we say it right now, I can set it up before it goes out.
So long as I'm on it right now, because we are streaming live over on Twitch at the moment. So.
Twitch.tv/goodstuff_FM. Yeah.
You can always email us. I check my Good Stuff email inbox every other month.
Because I email you and you don't get back to me.
Yeah, you can either do Chris at Goodstuff.fm or Kyle at Goodstuff.fm, and we'll check it every other month. But if we're using it for the show, I feel like that's a good reason to check.
So I'm not enough reason to check your Gmail, but if the listeners are sending in, the viewers are sending in stuff, then
that's absolutely correct. Yep.
Okay, so
yep.
There you go. The challenge has been laid out. Kyle at Goodstuff.fm. Send him an email. See if he actually reads it by the time we record. We're actually not going to be recording for a couple weeks, at least a live version on Friday morning. Just scheduling and stuff, but we will be back again. So make sure if you are following us and want to watch along on Twitch, do the subscribe or notification thing or whatever, and of course we'll do the tweets when we're going to go live as well. So anything else you want to say before we go off, Kyle?
No, I guess, go over to Goodstuff.fm, check out some of the other great shows. Since we won't be back for a little while, at least live, be sure to check out some of the other shows we've got over there. It's a good time.
Yeah. And you've got we should mention just in this folks are in podcast, are interested in podcasting, as I can't speak. You've got a show about beer. There's a lot of podcasters who like beer.
Yeah.
What's the podcast?
So I work at Untapped. I've got the shirt on. Yeah, I got the shirt on today. And we've got a beer podcast. We talk about the updates to the app, the Untapped app, and we talk about some beer news, some beer history. It's called Drinking Socially. Releases every Wednesday morning, and you can check it out at podcast.untapped.com.
And if personal plug, if you want help with your podcast beyond just listening to a podcast about podcasting, I do podcast consulting, advice, editing, production work for clients in exchange for money, which puts food on the table and Canadian food. And you can find out more. Lemonproductions.ca is my website, or add lemonproductions.ca/hire if you just want to book a consulting call or something with me sometime. Happy to do that. And like we said, iChris on Twitter. I am Kyle's Dog Burps on Twitter. Good Stuff FM, and the show is SMYM_FM. I think that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody. See you again next time.
Bye. That's a good. Okay. All right.
There. That's a very obvious audio cue.
Mm-hmm.
Pro tip for those out there: just make a really loud farting noise with your mouth when you want to put a marker.
No more claps. We're gonna do the farts.
Yeah.
All right.
So thanks to whoever happened to check in, watch. There's up to
we've got some titles
videos
too, I think.
Showbot.
Oh, there we go.
Showbot is a suggested title. Click that link and vote on a title. Oh, is that from last time still? Podcasting to the Void?
Oh, it must
be. I turned it off. It has the option automatically resets at midnight of the day of the recording, but I turned it off just because I lost. So now we got duplicate. Obviously, the ones that are one vote or less, I guess, or from
Yeah,
today. But
at the bottom, yeah.
anyways, we'll find one. If you want to vote, you can. And then I'll have to remember to reset that.
Mhm, mhm. The camera has the podcast app installed is good.
Mhm.
I'm posting directly from my camera. It's good. We're the peanut butter of podcasting. All right. These are very good. Good ones to choose from.
The cat barfing in my mouth is from last time, so you cannot vote for that. As tempting as that might be.
Mhm.
So you have to listen to episode 110 to find out why we were talking about that. So yeah, episode 110 is cat barfing, and episode 111 is anal death.
Yeah. Yes,
I don't know why I
definitely.
list people. I don't know why we're not.
It
We're
sounds
not
like
more
like a Swedish death metal band, maybe. Could be.
And World Cup spoilers. Where are we at here?
Oh no. Oh no.
Does anybody want to know? If you
I
don't want to know,
don't.
you're
No. Go,
watching.
go ahead. Go ahead. It was
Oh, it's
tied when
tied
I.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
All
0-0
right.
still. So.
All right.
Nigeria, Iceland. I think that's so. If I'm following along correctly, actually no, neither of these. It doesn't really matter because the big thing in Group D is Argentina could be out of the round of 16 if they don't win a game, basically, right? If they don't win their next game, I think something like that.
Yes. Well, no, I think like something has to happen where the other teams also lose. I don't. Both teams can't lose, or maybe they have to tie. I can't remember. I don't know what the circumstances where Argentina would still be in it.
Well, you get 3 points for a win. So if Argentina wins their final game, Iceland and Nigeria tie. They only get 1 point each. So then Iceland will be at 2 points. Argentina would be at 4 points. I think that's what has to happen here. Nigeria. Iceland has to lose or tie, and Argentina has to win. Obviously, their
Got it.
final
Okay.
game.
Okay.
So, I mean, if Argentina doesn't win against, I think who haven't they played yet? I forget. Anyways, we'll go to the podcast about
they're playing
soccer.
Nigeria next. So
yeah.
Yep.
Man,
Yep.
I saw just a little bit of the last game when they lost to Croatia and Messi walking off the field. Oh man,
Yeah.
I would not want to be in that locker room after that.
Yeah. I watched it twice actually. So I watched it live yesterday, and then Carolyn got home and we watched the game again, and it was way worse than I remember it being. But it was so it was not a pretty game. It was like 30.
Did Croatia play that good or Argentina played bad? Or both?
No, it was both teams were very bad. It was like 30 plus fouls called, 20 of them on Croatia. It was an ugly game. Not pretty football.
Yeah. Looks like we're the peanut butter of podcasting and might win here.
All right.
Okay. Thanks, Kyle.
Yeah, thanks. I'm gonna switch us over to the end card. Thanks for watching, everybody.
All right.
Catch you later.